Welcome back to For Love and Justice, where we dive deep into the heart of what really matters: emotional truth, collective healing, and the pursuit of a better world. I'm your host, and today's episode is a ride through the highs and lows of both personal and political, because they're always connected. We're kicking things off with the love, and in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, we're checking in on how we're really doing. With nearly 6 million people taking mental health screenings so far this year and 78% of U.S. participants showing moderate to severe symptoms, it's clear that mental wellness isn't just a buzzword, it's a battleground. We'll also take a quick detour into the stars because astrology lovers know that May is bringing major shifts for Taurus, Gemini, and Libra, especially in love, money, and personal growth. Then we're hitting the justice. Some real wins this month. International students at the University of Arkansas just got their visas reinstated. Yay. May Day protests reignited the spirit of activism, and Canada just gave us a hopeful glimpse at what progressive momentum can look like in response to regressive forces. But it's not all sunshine. In the low points, we're talking about Oklahoma rewriting history, literally, and defunding mental health support in schools. USDA just backed off from Salmonella regulations. Oh, and Trump thinks the solution to our country's problems is paying women to have babies and teaching menstrual classes. As always, we're here to hold space for both the heartbreak and the hope. Let's get into it.
Shit you might have missed.
Okay, the high points for the love. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health America reports that in 2024, over 5.9 million people worldwide took a mental health screening test through their online program, with 78% of U.S. participants scoring positive for moderate to severe symptoms. The depression test actually became the most widely taken, surpassing the ADHD screen, which is surprising because I know in 2024 there was also a shortage of Adderall for people with ADHD because everyone was getting diagnosed. So that's not comforting to know that depression is soaring higher than ADHD. But it makes sense. We don't need to make it make sense. It definitely makes sense. Okay, so the only other high point I have is that for those interested in astrology, May is going to bring significant shifts in relationship dynamics for certain zodiac signs. Tauruses may confront secret truths in their love lives, leading to deeper emotional maturity. Geminis can expect financial prosperity and favorable influences in marriage, while Libras may experience transformations in partnerships, finances, and career. So buckle up, buttercups, because it might be a good month for some of us. Lucky bitches. And then the low points for the love. The Met Gala happened. Snore. It was a snooze fest because Taylor Swift did not show up with Travis. I almost said Travis Barker, Travis Kelce. TNT was not there, so the Met Gala, who cares? It feels like the Hunger Games every single year. And it's weird that Zendaya is like the face of it, but she's so like young and politically active. It's just odd. So anyway, it happened. No one cares. And then UK mental health experts are raising concerns about the safety and efficacy of AI therapy chatbots. Following Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's remarks advocating for AI as a substitute for human therapists, clinicians warn that current AI lacks the nuance and contextual understanding essential for effective mental health care. Past incidents, such as a chatbot providing dangerous eating disorder advice, highlight the potential risks. Yikes. And I will say, I do know people who have said that they use ChatGPT for therapy. I've used it for like problem solving and like some astrology, tarot card reading type stuff. But yeah, and it sucks because it does make it so much more accessible. therapy should be accessible to everyone. But yeah, you can't trust everything you read on the internet, right? And it scrapes from the internet. That's where it learns. I can totally see it providing eating disorder advice because that's all over the internet. That's a lot of that content. So, yeah, I don't know. Jury's out. I think it can be beneficial for some things. Just maybe don't use it. You can use it for meal plans and things like that. I've done that before. But maybe not health advice. Maybe go to your doctor or see a nutritionist about that. Which is not accessible. I get it. It's a conundrum. Okay, so now for the justice. For the high points, like I said earlier, visas were reinstated for all of the University of Arkansas's international students who had their status revoked. And I'm going to pull up the Arkansas Times here and just read a little bit of the information for you. So there were 5 international students at the U of A who had their visa status revoked last month, and they have been reinstated, a university spokesperson confirmed Thursday. At least 1,024 students at 160 colleges, universities, and university systems had their visas revoked or their legal status terminated in March and April, according to a review by the Associated Press. The Student and Exchange Visitor Information System is a database used to track and monitor schools, exchange visitor programs, and certain designations of non-immigrants while they study in the U.S. education system, according to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The termination of records in the database were challenged in more than 70 lawsuits across the country. And the federal government reversed course on Friday, April 25th, when a government attorney announced in a hearing that students' terminated records would be restored while the government adopts a formal policy for revoking records in SEBIS, which is an acronym for that long database name that I read. UA officials have not identified the students or stated why their status was revoked. The university had 1,214 foreign students as of April 25th, according to a spring 2025 enrollment report. An internal memo filed in court by the Justice Department Monday indicates an expansion of power for ICE regarding international students' legal status, NBC News reported. The memo to all student and exchange visitor program personnel shows an expanded list of criteria for ICE to terminate international student status. According to the document, visa revocation would now be grounds for terminating student status. So yeah, that's terrifying, and I'm very glad they rectified that. In other high points, Trump shenanigans caused a progressive wave in the Canadian election. They elected a progressive Canadian Prime Minister to replace Justin Trudeau. So that's exciting, and hopefully we can see the same thing happen here. And then the 2025 May Day protests saw widespread participation across the United States, with citizens rallying for workers' and immigrants' rights. It was organized by the 50501 movement, and these demonstrations highlight a growing trend of civic engagement and activism aimed at promoting social justice and labor rights. So good for you if you were at the May Day protests. It's very exciting. Okay, now for low points. There are significantly more low points for the justice. So first up, Oklahoma is requiring teaching propaganda about the 2020 election. That's my way of summing this up. Superintendent Ryan Walters celebrated that, quote, the most unapologetically conservative, pro-America social studies standards in the nation are moving forward. He pushed the changes through, the state superintendent, and he's a staunch Trump supporter. He used a rushed and controversial process that left even some Republicans uneasy. And education experts and the Oklahoma Council for Social Studies have condemned the standards, warning that they undermine students' critical thinking skills and present settled facts as if they're up for debate. Democratic leaders argue that this move is a costly distraction from real educational priorities and accuse the GOP-led legislature of putting politics ahead of students. Instead of helping students learn how to think critically, critics say the new standards risk turning classrooms into arenas for partisan misinformation, all at the expense of Oklahoma taxpayers. Period. Full stop. So yeah, this is whack. This is absolutely insane. I thought Republicans were against indoctrination. This sounds like indoctrination. But yeah, so that will be fought out in court, to be continued. And then the Education Department canceled $1 billion in funding that supports mental health programs in schools. But I thought mental health was to blame for school shootings. So we're not going to regulate guns. We're going to cut mental health programs in schools. So we really don't care about children. Which also brings me, oh my gosh, so much about children today. Okay, so 4 people in Arkansas were charged for running a makeshift child fight club and permitting abuse. They worked at the Delta Institute for the Developing Brain, which received $161,000 in voucher funding. So that's where our voucher money, which is taxpayer money, is going, all in the name of school choice. The Arkansas Times reported it, Arkansas Dems reported it. People reported it. People actually reported the news. So I'll have the link in the show notes. But yeah, you can go read about it on People. Prosecuting attorney Sonia Haggard filed the charges after seeing a 30-minute video of an incident at the school. A teacher can be heard instructing a student to hit another boy, quote, in the private area at one point in the footage, Haggard said. So yeah, that's where our taxpayer money is going. To child fight clubs. In Arkansas, of all places. Terrifying. And then in other news about children, the DOJ just opened an investigation into a new Washington state law requiring clergy to report child abuse. The DOJ called it anti-Catholic. To which I have to say, what about states' rights? Why is the DOJ looking into a Washington state law that combats child abuse? These are good questions. I'm just saying. Maybe we should think about it. Also to say it's anti-Catholic. So the reverse of that. So you're saying moving on. Just marinate with that. In other news, the USDA will not require poultry companies to limit Salmonella bacteria in their raw products, withdrawing a Biden-era proposal. Fun fact, the largest single donation to Trump's inauguration fund came from Pilgrim's Pride, which is a chicken processor. They donated $5 million. Again, these are just fun little facts. These are just things to marinate on. These are things actually happening. Also actually happening, several historians, including Timothy Snyder, who wrote On Tyranny, have fled the country in the name of authoritarianism. And while some might have opinions on that, you know, they're fleeing, maybe that's cowardly, they want to keep doing their jobs, and they cannot do their job here anymore. People who are writing op-eds are being disappeared. Not deported. Disappeared. And sent to prisons. I digress. So Trump is also going to offer $5,000 to new moms for having babies and menstrual classes to combat declining birth rates. Who does this help? Really? What does that do? Why not paid parental leave? Why not a million other things that women have been begging for decades now? But no, $5,000 in menstrual classes. And finally, when asked whether or not it was his job to uphold the Constitution in a recent interview, Trump said, quote, "I don't know," end quote, "I have great lawyers." To which I say, imagine Obama had said that while he was president. What would your reaction have been, Republicans? Wild. Absolutely wild. Okay, guys, that's the show. Whether you're feeling fired up, heartbroken, or just a little more aware, thank you for showing up. These conversations matter, and so do you. If something resonated, share this episode with a friend, drop a review, or come find me on Substack, where the newsletter dives even deeper. Until next time, keep your heart open, your mind sharp, and your voice loud. Bye, guys.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.